A letter to believers, people who think they believe. Life is suffering, and it shouldn't be any other way around. I remember in my childhood I was praying for God to raise me, not to kill me, but to raise me, as if I've never existed. Why would I wish for that? I knew if I died, people would suffer from my death. But you can't cry for what you aren't aware of. Why I wish to be raised? I was weak. I didn't know how to navigate this world with all those feelings. I couldn't understand. I didn't understand humans. So instead of facing those problems, I wanted to avoid them, like vanish completely. I didn't want to accept the suffering that was mine. I was running away, and by doing so, I was suffering even more. You must understand this law. If you don't choose your burden, the world will impose your one. That's the way of this world. The Bible states in Genesis that after the first sin, they threw them out of the garden and placed cherubim armed with fiery sword as guards the garden. From a conceptual aspect, if you want to go to God, you must separate the bad and the good within you. That is symbolic of the sword. And you must burn down what's not good. That is symbolic of fire. You can see it by this. He who wants to go to God must die and know hell. And if you don't want to, you will just know the hell. Physical death is completion. You must die metaphorically, regularly. You now must be greater than you did. It's an evolution. You see, life is a story of change, evolution, death, and rebirth. Without challenges, there can be no evolution. Without suffering, there can be no challenges. Like it or not, life will challenge you. Choose your burden, or you will be assigned one. If you don't choose to have skill, get a job, or be an entrepreneur, society will assign you the burden of being unemployed. No void exists here. When you choose God, you are against the world. The world will torture you. And that is your burden, and you must accept it, otherwise you didn't choose God. You are a liar. You're a liar in front of God, you're a liar in front of yourself. And the worst part of that, you don't even realize it. Understand this. I am against begging for things you can have on your own. Most are praying and begging God to remove your suffering. But they don't understand they are on earth to evolve and go back to Him. God is a refuge when things become overwhelming, to get the strength to face whatever is before you. But He is not supposed to end your suffering. Do you want the truth? Most of you are weak and cold. You know what you have to do in order to have whatever you want. But you are lazy, and you'll end up trying to assign your role to God as if God works for you. What a blasphemy. And you don't even realize it. That's the worst part of all this situation. You think you are good by doing so, but you are the worst thing on this planet. If I was the devil, this is what I would do. Ask first myself, what's the best way to make sure most of souls will be damned? Make them believe the bad they are doing is good, and give them some prodigies, some miracles in quotes, so they reinforce the belief and define it as standard for the society. That's what's going on. But how can praying be bad? I am specifically targeting praying for God to erase your suffering. That's the wrong way. You might ask, do you know this called the devil hides in details? Yes. The details in your prayers for God to erase your suffering is the latent purpose of a prayer. You are not talking to God as creature to his creator, even if you are crying, but rather as creator to its creature. You are trying to make God bow before you. Do you know who was trying at creation back then? Exactly. Him. Now you are all doing the same. You are all following him without even realizing it. You are sheep being misdirected by a wolf identified as a shepherd. And I told you that in the past letter. You are weak and you bow before the one true devil. Weakness. Each time you let that voice convince you, it possesses you, and you are responsible for whatever it does. I am not judging you. I want people to wake up and act to have what they want. Do you think your suffering is unbearable? Everyone suffers. There is no true suffering. You sob and plead, convinced that your suffering is beyond endurance. What a lie. The proof is you are alive, so accept it or not, you bear suffering. And it will be good to bear your own suffering. Choose it. Don't let the world assign you one. The question is, are you facing it or are you trying to avoid it? Try to avoid it and you will suffer and not move forward. Face it and you will suffer and move forward. If you die, face it, you may be free from it. God will never give you what you can't bear. And that's the sole point of this argument, is that you are alive. That means you bear the suffering. Rather bear your own. Choose your burden. That's it for this week. A little reminder, I am talking to believers in quotes. To people who think they believe, but they don't believe at all, and they don't even realize it. Wake up. Either you choose God completely, either you don't. Choosing God implies being against the world, which means the world will torture you. So I usually ask you this to yourself. Do you really know what or where you are walking? The path you have chosen? As always, this is just my thought on this subject, and I'm open for further discussion about it. You can DM me on X. And I'll be happy. I will just leave the link right below.